Hello again, I'm Kehoe, the chairman of the Erewash constituency for UKIP, and I've been doing a series of talks on the UKIP manifesto, and today I want to look at item 21 from the interim manifesto, which is about taxation. And I should mention there's 30 of these because it's important to say right at the start that UKIP has a really large, broad and very effective range of policies that it's bringing forward. Not just Brexit, a whole range of policies, and they're very, very good. So let's look at this one. Now, taxation, UKIP is proposing to reduce a whole range of taxes and reform a number of taxes, but I haven't got time to look at those today. What I want to look at is just one single thing, and that is UKIP's proposal that it will address the subject of multinationals, global companies trading here, and the way in which they evade tax by virtue of being outside the jurisdiction. Now, but even for that, I haven't got time to deal with all of that today. So I want to focus in on one company, and it's rather a big one, and you might have heard of it. It's called Amazon. And I'd like to look at how we could tax Amazon. Now, this is just my suggestion. It's not UKIP policy. It's just a thought I'm having as to how we can pin them down, because you can't really tax them on their profit because they simply relocate it outside the jurisdiction. Likewise, their revenue, they adopt the view that that was incurred outside the jurisdiction. So what can we tax Amazon on that they cannot move outside of the jurisdiction? And I would say this: tax them on transactions. Now, what do I mean by that? Impose a tax on Amazon for each and every item that they sell. And let's, for example, say, for sake of argument, we impose a tax of 1%. So if it's a book at £10, then there's a tax of 10 pence. And if it's a lawnmower at £200, there's a tax of £2 on that item. Now, that would be applicable and paid by Amazon for every item that is sold to a person whose postcode is in the United Kingdom. So therefore it doesn't matter tuppence where Amazon is registered or where they consider themselves to be domiciled. We can ignore that. The question is, where is the customer? Now, the other advantage of this, and I think it's a major advantage, is that this tax that I'm proposing will be virtually free to levy and free to collect. The Exchequer would have to do virtually nothing. And so what they would simply do is leave it to Amazon to impose the charge on every transaction. It would appear on your screen as you're buying your lawnmower or your book or whatever, and it would be added to the fee, and then Amazon, as part of their software, would reallocate that payment to a fund that they monthly or quarterly pay to the HMRC. It goes to the revenue. There you are, job done. Almost nothing needs to be done by the Exchequer. No staff involved, nothing involved. Amazon does it all, and they can't avoid it, they can't escape it. And so this then, you might say, yes, but the problem is that they would pass that cost on to their traders or to their customers, and therefore they'd end up paying it. Well, of course they would. But that's true of any expenditure incurred by any company. So if a company has to pay business rates or it has to pay fuel tax or whatever, of course it passes that tax on to its customers. But the point is that Amazon would then be having to pay this tax and pass it on, and it would go to the revenue and be used by the nation instead of no tax being paid in this instance. Now, the question then arises, what would we do with that revenue? If we incur that revenue, what would we as a country do with it? Now, the most obvious thing to do is simply place it into the general funds of the Exchequer. But I've got another thought, which I could add to this, which is a separate thought, but I think it goes with it quite nicely. And that is that we could hypothecate this tax. And what that means is that we say that this particular tax is set aside to be used for a specific purpose. This is very rare in United Kingdom tax law. The Chancellor of the Exchequer never likes these kind of things being hypothecated because it cramps their room for manoeuvre. But imagine we did this. We set the money aside for the regeneration of town centres. Now, why do I say that? It's because Amazon has essentially been, to a large extent, the cause of the demise of British town centres. The first nail in the coffin was put there by out-of-town shopping centres, and the final nail in the coffin was put there by Amazon, and shops are really suffering from it. They really are. Look, for example, at John Lewis. We're just here on the news today. A significant reduction in profit, largely brought about by Amazon competing with them and not needing to have premises, and simply people ordering online and undercutting shops like that. Now, if we did what I'm suggesting, it would have a number of benefits. The first benefit is it would drive up the cost of buying something from Amazon, and I think that's only fair. And of course, we're all Amazon customers, but we're also customers of shops. But it's not fair that shops should have to maintain a presence in the high street or even in out-of-town shopping centres, and then we look at their goods and then go and buy them on Amazon. If we imposed a tax like this, it would to some degree level up the playing field, and I think that's a good thing. But the most important thing is, if this tax was redirected towards regenerating town centres, over say 5, 10, 15 years, year after year, the money is poured into town centres to do things like this, to beautify them, to build and improve car parks, to also fund a reduction in business rates or even the removal of business rates for town centre properties, grants and loans to convert properties to different use, greater flexibility of planning permission to enable change of use. For example, if shops are empty, why not let them be turned into residential use, flats, houses? Bring back large Georgian houses in the town centre that people used to have, where people used to have a town house, and bring people back into the town centres, because many of our town centres are largely empty, and especially at night there's nobody there. They're just like ghost towns. They're full of charity shops and empty shops and things like gambling shops and so on. They're not the way they should be. Now, if we did this, we could revitalise our town centres and bring about a dramatic transformation of something that is a great part of our heritage that we've allowed to be damaged in these ways. Anyway, that's just an extra thought on top. But what I really want to focus on is, how can we make these companies pay? And that's one thought as to how we'd go about it. So we'll come back to other forms of taxation in other talks and look at how UKIP will reduce taxation, because that I suspect some of you will be keener on. So for now, if you like what we've had to say, please press on like and also comment, and please share this if you feel able to, because that really helps. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much.